G'day viewers.
Today we're looking at the Delkevic De-Cat 343mm titanium exhaust system on a Ducati Supersport. I'm Bob and this is West Oz Moto. So just a bit of history first up. When I bought this bike, it already had this system on it. So I've missed out on all the fun of removing the original system, which apparently is not much fun at all. If you search YouTube, you can see where other people have done it. It's a bit of a pain getting off the catalytic converter, unhooking the servo motor, and actually getting the cat box itself away from the bottom of the engine. To be honest, I'd never heard of Delkevic. And when I searched on YouTube, I couldn't find anyone reviewing this particular silencer on this particular bike. I went to the Delkevic site, and as you'll see there are no fewer than 13 different options for this bike, this one being a 2017 Ducati Supersport. The reason there are so many options is because it comes in a variety of materials and a variety of shapes and sizes. If you go there, you'll see they've got stainless steel, they've got carbon fiber, and they've got titanium. And then you've got your shapes. You've got your round, you've got your tri-oval, and you've got this oval like this one here. But the most remarkable thing about Delkevic is the pricing. As you'll see here, silencer kits for this bike start from a very low $330 and go all the way up to $660, and we're talking Australian dollars here. The one we're looking at today is the most expensive one, which is the 660 Aussie dollar one. That's about 440 in US dollars. As you can see, along with the silencer, you get the link pipe, the brackets, the clamps, and the springs. But interestingly, the baffle is optional. And as you can probably see, I didn't get one, I don't have one, so I'm not testing this with the baffle. Just very quickly on the mounting points. So it does retain both the original header pipes from the bike. It uses the right-hand side mounting point, as you can see there. And it doesn't use the mounting point which normally supports the cat on the back of the crankcase, but it adds one more, which, as you can see, you've got this metal bracket which comes from the top attachment point from the rear foot pegs and holds the silencer in place there. Some other features about this system. It does not need a flash tune or a retune of the engine. I can assure you it runs perfectly well, just the way it is with the exhaust bolted on. You do, of course, get to keep your rear pegs, which is not true of every system. One thing it does need, though, is a servo buddy. And that takes the place of the servo motor, which, as you can see here, all we've got here is the void left where it was. You can just see a bit of wiring at the top there. And if I look in the top, you can see the servo eliminator, which you need to buy. And that prevents the check engine light from coming on and staying on. If you can live with the check engine light being on, then that's your issue. But for me, it could then hide if you have an actual problem somewhere else in the bike and the engine light's trying to tell you something else as well. One thing I did find was a crack in the front of the silencer here. I don't believe this is a Delkevic issue, because when I took the system to a very good local welder who was actually qualified to do titanium welding, he took a look at it and identified it as a stress fracture. And sure enough, when I undid the steel bracket at the back here, when it was free from the silencer, it sprung back in towards the bike a couple of centimeters. So it was obviously either set up with stress from the outset, or the silencer might have come in contact with something, been temporarily bent in, and then it's created stress from then on. But the important lesson is, if you're going to install a system, set it up with as little stress as possible, and preferably none. As far as general quality goes, Delkevic seems to be a UK-based company, but I'll just about guarantee for these prices they're manufacturing in China, which is not a problem in itself. Nearly everything you can buy these days is manufactured in China. If you have a look at the titanium silencer, it's absolutely fine. It's not falling apart. That looks good. However, if you have a look at the link pipe, you can see that there is a fair bit of discoloration. It looks like where the rear cylinder pipe joins it, a lot of heat is generated there, and that's where the pattern of discoloration is. The other thing is, and this is not really a quality issue but rather a design issue, as you can see, the exhaust flow from the rear cylinder meets the front one at almost a 90-degree angle. And in the principles of good exhaust design, it's not really ideal. It's not an extraction type system by any means. The other exhaust principle which seems to have been low on the priority list here is that of having equal length pipes, or as close as possible, before they merge. It looks like they've just joined the pipes at the first possible opportunity, probably using the least amount of material. You do have to keep in mind that if you want to pay the lowest price for a system, you can't really expect state-of-the-art design. As far as style goes, and obviously it's a very subjective thing, I guess if you had to choose one silencer out of the Delkevic catalogue, this would probably be the one. Although I don't mind the look of the original system, which had the twin outlets and was lower and further forward. I think the satiny sort of finish of the titanium goes quite well with the other finishes on the bike. Certainly a lot better than the highly polished finish of the stainless steel or the shiny finish of the carbon fibre. Also, although it's quite big, the long shape and it being oval in cross section goes quite well with the bike. Although it's probably not exactly what the Italian style gurus had in mind when they designed the entire bike. Anyway, enough of me droning on, let's have a listen to it. You'll need headphones or some good computer speakers to really appreciate this. If there's one thing that this system does really well, it sounds good. It manages to release that deep rolling thunder bass that is a Ducati at idle, kind of like doing a drum roll on tom-toms. It's obviously quite difficult to demonstrate how loud a bike actually is on a video, but I can tell you it's certainly louder than the standard system, but not offensively loud like a straight through bike. You can see at idle here, it's registering about 80 decibels on average, and if you start to rev it up, it only goes up about 2 or 3 decibels and peaks at about 90 there. But that was only at about 6,000 RPM. And when you get it out on the open road, it sounds marvellous. A little bit like the earlier air-cooled Supersports that have that wonderful growl on acceleration. The other thing you'll hear is some snap, crackle and pop on Overrun. The bike does it anyway, but the system just allows you to hear it a lot better. Summing up then, these are my thoughts on the Delkevic titanium system on this particular Ducati. going to start with the negatives just so we can finish on the positives. The first one, of course, has got to be the design of the link pipe, just the way it doesn't merge in and the way it has definitely unequal length of pipe before it joins together. And maybe a question mark about the quality of the stainless steel. The other thing is the big titanium muffler is not specific for the Supersport. As you saw, there's 13 other mufflers which are available for it. So it's almost a universal type silencer for it. Finish on the positives though. The one thing it's really good at is sounding good. As you heard on the clips, it manages to make the bike sound great. The other thing, and probably the biggest draw card with this system, is the price. It's pretty much the most affordable system you can get with this bike. So if you're happy to have a very affordable system that sounds good, then it certainly does the job. I guess the elephant in the room question here is, would you or should you put an entry-level system on a premium type of bike? I'm sure the Ducatisti would turn their noses up at it, but obviously it depends on your circumstances. I will probably go to the market and see what else is available. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to find out what sort of system I eventually end up with. Thanks for watching.